that they'll at least have that.
Little late, but okay. Okay, that was my question. Thank you, Deborah.
And I think one further thing that is worth commenting is, obviously, their signs were posted, there was notices mailed out, and I don't believe on this one, any of the neighbors has an issue with it.
And I must say, like I repeat myself, like I did at the last meeting, I travel that road every time I leave my house. That's my thoroughway right there. Okay, and at first, a few years ago, oh, I hated that four-way stop sign. Just like they put another one on 5th and 41st. Oh, I hate those. But you know what? It does help. I have yet, of course, karma. I have yet to see an accident. Yeah, an accident there because of the four-way stop sign. So anyway, I've said my piece. Comments or questions from the board? Yeah. Anyone in the audience would like to comment on this item? Is there anyone in the electronic audience for this item? No? Okay. That being said, if the board doesn't have any comments or questions, then what's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to deny.
We have a motion to deny by Mr. Ulloa. Can we get a second? Second going twice. Second going 3 times. Motion fails.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Mr. Jimenez. Can we get a second?
Second that motion.
We have a second.
Motion by Mr. Jimenez, second by Mrs. Enrique.
Yes.
Mr. D. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Jimenez,
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias,
Yes.
Mrs. Enrique,
Yes.
Mr. Ulloa.
No.
Item has been approved with conditions.
Thank you.
Item number 4. Conditional use permit to allow K through 1st grade elementary school with a maximum capacity of 54 students in conjunction with an existing 42 children daycare. Variance permit to allow the legalization of a 720 square feet expansion of the existing daycare, increasing the maximum capacity of children in the daycare from 42 to 62. And to allow 23 parking spaces where 27 parking spaces are required. Property is located at 380 Palm Avenue, Hialeah Zone, CBD, Central Business District. Applicant, Donoso Academy, DBR LLC.
Please keep it down. Thank you. We have an applicant present? Okay. Donoso Academy. Okay, name and address, please.
380 Palm Avenue, Hialeah, 301.
Name?
Donoso Academy.
My name,
Yeah.
Raquel Donoso,
Oh, okay. You want to repeat the address again? The microphone was off.
380 Palm Avenue, Hialeah, Florida, 33010.
Thank you. Are you going to speak also or? No? Okay. Let her read it into the record and then we'll discuss your application.
The property in this application is a commercial strip located at the southwest intersection of Palm Avenue and West 4th Street within the Hialeah Downtown Urban Center. The property is on CBD and improved with a commercial building built in the 1950s, including 7 commercial bays facing Palm Avenue and a parking lot at the rear. In the year 2000, 3 middle bays in the building were consolidated and improved as a 42 children daycare under permit 2000-2797, including a playground adjacent to the rear of the building in an area previously designated as parking. Consequently, the site has 23 parking spaces to be shared by the daycare, school, and 2 other businesses. Over the years, the business expanded into the adjacent bays, one 700 square feet extra bay to the north and 2 extra bays to the south, without the benefit of a building permit. The expansion into adjacent bays served to accommodate 20 more daycare students and 2 elementary school classes with a capacity for 24 students in kindergarten and first grade. The CUP was advertised for 54 students based on plans that had errors and were later corrected to reflect a maximum of 24 students. The application needs to be amended accordingly. At this time, the applicant is before the city requesting a conditional use permit to allow a K through first grade 24-student elementary school in conjunction with a 62 children daycare and parking variance to allow 23 parking spaces where 27 are required. Since section 98, 2192B of the City of Hialeah Code of Ordinances allows 20% of the required on-site parking to be provided as on-street parking in areas where on-street parking is permitted, 3 parking spaces may be provided on the street. Since 23 parking spaces will be provided on-site and 3 on-street, parking spaces will count as the 3 on-street parking spaces will count as required parking spaces. The parking deficit decreases to just 1 parking space. Accordingly, the variance request shall be amended to reflect a variance to allow 26 parking spaces, 23 on-site and 3 off-site, where 27 parking spaces are required. The facility will have 10 staff members, including teachers and support employees, and there is a procedure to facilitate drop-off and pick-up at the rear of the building from where children access the facility through one of the existing doors. Given that this is a school with a reduced student population and the parking deficit is just 1 car, the CUP and parking variance shall be approved with the condition that the 3 bays added without the benefit of a building permit get permitted and finalized within 4 months. Otherwise, the BTR for the educational component cannot be issued. Recommendation. With the condition that the legalization of the unpermitted improvements on Bay 352, 356, and 386 get completed within 4 months from the date of approval of the application, approve a CUP to allow a kindergarten through first grade elementary school with a maximum capacity of 24 students occupying a single bay, Bay 352, in conjunction with a 62 children daycare on base 356, 368, 374, 380, and 386, and approve a parking variance to allow 26 parking spaces where 27 parking spaces are required.
Thank you, Mrs. Storch. Any comments or questions? Do you understand the recommendation? Do you understand the requirements that are brought forth?
About the parking lot.
Go
No, you go ahead.
ahead. Well, could
We
explain.
need your name and address before, if you're gonna
Okay,
speak, we need
go
your
on.
name and address, please. And into
Okay.
the microphone.
Tom Nigro, and it's 380 Palm Avenue, then also can.
Okay,
So as far as the recommendations, I guess kind of went through it quickly. Could you just give us an idea? We have 4 months to complete what from the recommendations?
the
The
legalization of,
legalization of the 3 bays that were added without the benefit of a building permit. 4 bays were permitted. We have the record of the permit. 2 bays to one side and 1 bay to the other side were added without a building permit, and that is what your plans show. So you have 4 months to do those legalizations.
if you don't know what the legalization
Me.
requirements are, come back here tomorrow to the office, see staff.
They have an architect that prepared the plans, so the architect will.
There you go.
Those and-
Okay.
So that he'll be able to enlighten you as to what the requirements are.
All
Okay,
right. Okay, well,
do you understand
Yes,
those
yes.
basically conditions that they're imposing on you? You understand
All
that?
right, okay.
Well, the attorney will prepare a declaration of restrictive covenants with these conditions that you will need to sign before the council meeting in January. So he
All right.
will get in touch with you, Alex Magrizo, and Okay, yeah, so you have to get in touch. I will send you an email with his contact and you will get in touch with him to have that DOR signed.
All right.
By it has to be signed by the owner of the shopping plaza.
Wow, okay.
So again, it's like I said before, you need to take the first step and contact staff. And in this case will be legal counsel, and they'll prepare the paperwork so that you know what to do, when to do it, and all of that other stuff.
All right.
Okay? Comments or questions from the board? Anyone in the audience have a comment or question on this item? Anyone in the electronic audience? Closes the part of the public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve
Thank you.
conditions.
Second that motion?
Motion by
Conditions.
Mrs. Enrique, second by Mr. Iglesias. Mr. Jimenez,
Yes.
Mr. D. Perez,
Yes.
Mrs. Enrique,
Yes.
Mr. Ulloa,
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias.
Yes.
Item has been approved with conditions.
All right. It's been approved with the conditions that you need to contact staff and take the first steps and go through with it, okay? You have to have it ready by next council meeting,
January.
January 9th.
January 9th. So you don't have a whole lot of time to waste. Okay, thank you. Good night, Merry Christmas.
Mr. Chairman, I have something I'd like to bring to your attention.
Yes, sir.
The item before that was approved for recommendation of approval was voted on without any conditions. And I know that that's not the way it's normally done, so.
Well, the DOR is part of the record, so you will have to prepare that DOR with those conditions.
But since we didn't list them and they're not in your recommendation, that's why I'm asking.
Well, the maximum of students in the daycare, the maximum of students in the kindergarten, and the drop-off continuing to be a drop-off area.
Okay, that's it. Very well. Simple.
Okay,
Good
so,
looking out.
so item number 5 is actually a tabled item. You need to remove it from the table.
Okay, item number 5, are they here?
Yes, it's Caesar.
Oh, okay. Item number 5 needs to be removed from table. Can we get a motion, please?
Motion to remove from table.
Second that motion?
Okay, so motion by Mrs. Enrique, second by Mr. Iglesias and Mr. Ulloa. Mr. Jimenez,
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias,
Yes.
Mrs. Enrique,
Yes.
Mr. D. Perez.
Yes.
Mr. Ulloa.
Yes.
Item has been removed from table.
Thank you.
Item number 5. Special use permit to allow an elementary school to operate on property zoned R1, one family district. Conditional use permit to allow a K through 5th grade elementary school on a freestanding campus setting property with a maximum capacity of 71 students in conjunction with a daycare with a capacity of 169 children. And variance permit to allow an 8-foot height wall where a 6-foot high wall is the maximum allowed on a residential zone property. Property is located at 21 East 59th Street, Hialeah zoned R1, one family district. Applicant Cesar Mestre Esquire.
Thank you. Cesar, will you identify yourself, please?
Caesar Magistrate Offices at 8105 Northwest 155th Street, Miami Lakes, Florida.
Thank you, sir.
The property in this application is located at the northeast corner of Palm Avenue and East 59th Street. It is a 0.84 acre site with major institutions land use and R1 zoning. The rest of the block has low density residential land use and R1 zone. The north and east sides of the property are adjacent to single-family homes. The submitted plans show a 10-foot alley lying north of the property. However, said alley is closed and incorporated into the adjacent properties. The property was originally built in 1944 as a single-family home fronting Palm Avenue with a 127 feet front setback improved with a lengthy circular driveway. In 1965, the property was granted a variance to allow the operation of a child nursery on property zoned R1 under Ordinance 1753. In 2008, the property owner who acquired the property in 2004 came before the city with a proposal to redevelop the site with a new daycare facility and was granted a CUP and SUP to allow a 240 children daycare through Ordinance 0888. In that same process, she was allowed to temporarily have a modular building on site for a period of 1 year for a classroom. The property was never redeveloped as presented in 2008, and the trailer classroom is still on the site. The site does not have on-site parking, and all parking takes place on the 59th Street swale area in the form of backout parking and informally within the front setback. The swale area on East 59th Street is entirely eroded with no vestige of what was once a grassed area. At this time, the applicant is before the city with a redevelopment proposal to build a daycare and school on this freestanding 0.84 acre site, including a new 15,370 square feet, two-story building, and adjacent covered parking to be improved with a 6,918 square feet playground above, and additional uncovered surface parking. To be able to redevelop the site as proposed, the applicant originally requested rezoning from R1 to R3, which was later changed to a special use permit to allow a school on property zoned R1 and a conditional use permit to allow a K through 5th grade elementary school with a maximum capacity of 71 students in conjunction with a 169 children daycare. The reconstruction of the swale area with grass and landscape and a few parallel parking spaces is also part of the proposal. The two-story building is proposed to be located at the west end of the property and the parking at the rear next to the adjacent single-family homes. Apart from the playground above the covered parking, an additional playground is proposed on the north side of the property. A variance is requested to allow an 8-foot high concrete wall separating the similar uses where 6 feet is the maximum allowed. The site complies with all other zoning regulations, including parking and car stacking. The proposed two-story contemporary institutional look building stands out in the low-density residential neighborhood, generally improved with one-story single-family homes. Same with the proposed light blue and gray colors that contrast the existing light color palette in the neighborhood. The intensity of the proposed use, including the 240 total children and student population, will also impact the adjacent neighborhood. However, a daycare with a capacity of 240 children was already approved in 2008. For compatibility with the neighborhood, it is strongly recommended a change in the color palette to a light neutral color such as white or light earth tone. The special use permit to allow a daycare and school on property zoned R1 is a way to avoid the introduction of multifamily zoning in an area that is consistently zoned R1 and could be approved. The conditional use permit may be approved with the following conditions. Total children and student capacity to be limited to 240 students. Building colors to be changed as recommended. Illegal classroom trailer to be removed immediately. Swale area parking to be ceased immediately. Proposed redevelopment of the site to get completed in a period not to exceed 2 years. 8 feet CBS wall and dense landscaping to be provided along the north and east property lines. The recommendation is to approve the special use permit, approve the wall height variance, and approve the conditional use permit with the conditions.
Thank you, Mrs. Storch. We have a letter of opposition here. Do we want to read that into the record?
Okay. The what? Sorry? Yes.
You want me to read it again?
Oh, it's
been read.
it's already been read?
It's already been.
Can we just? Okay, all right, thank you.
So it's a letter of opposition from the neighbor next door.
Right, and it's on the record from the previous meeting. Mr. Mister.
Thank you. I think the most important part of this presentation, and for the audience as well, because I know there's some neighbors here opposing this item, is that in 2008, this was already approved for a 240 children daycare. That ship has sailed. This is not going to be a single family house. This is going to be either a 240 children daycare, the way it is now, or a 240 children student daycare school with all the improvements that we're proposing. Those are the options. We can go through the slides. I know we went through these last time. I'll go kind of quickly. There's just certain things that I want to point out. The next slide. This is a copy of the ordinance in 2008 that approved the 240 children daycare. Go to 2 slides after. The colors were changed. I haven't been able to get the input from Deborah. I don't know if this one is more acceptable than the one from before. Is this one okay? So this would comply with the request, and we are proffering that this will be the color scheme that will be used if it is approved. Next slide. I want you to know, and architect Cardoso is here to help with the presentation, but I want you to look at the site plan that's up on there. You'll see that this is 0.85 acres. The building, the main building, was pushed as far to the west as possible in order to not bother or have anything to do with the residents to the east and the residents to the north as much as possible. The houses to the north and the houses to the east are going to have parking lot there. So people come in, park. They're also, you'll see in the landscape plan, that there's proposing lush landscaping. Hialeah, I know now has a landscaping engineer that reviews these, and they make us submit plans, and the plans and what actually is done has to comply with what we're saying. We can't say we're going to, plant these little bushes and then, do something that's not right. So the idea of the lush landscaping is to create a buffer between the school daycare and the neighbors. You also see there that there is now going to be a big parking lot structure that's going to be located on the east side of the property. Right now, there is no parking lot. They're using the empty lot on the corner, which is what used to be the driveway for the house that was built in 1944. And the teachers, staff, everybody parks there. And then some people use the swell area for in and out. But that will do away with that because we have enough area for the circulation of the vehicles picking up and dropping off. We have enough to comply with all of our parking requirements. And we're even going as far as reseeding or regrassing the swale area. And we will also add 3 parallel parking on the street right next to the school. Next slide, please. The one on the left is a picture facing north, directly in front of the daycare that is presently there. It's an old house, obviously from 1944. You can see the swale area, but this is what it looks like today. And I just wanted you to see that. Next slide. This is an overhead view. And if you take into account the site plan, you will see that the house that's located to the right is going to have landscaping, the wall, the 8-foot wall, and it's going to be parking lot. So I think that our bothering this neighbor here is a minimum. I know that last time the neighbor directly to the north on Palm Avenue, that one little house there, complained. If you look at the site plan, our proposed playground, I measured it, actually starts about 30, 35 feet in from the property line. So if you look at it, you'll see that the playground is really kind of behind their yard, not directly on their house. So that will bother them a minimum. You're also going to see in the next slide that one. That's the house directly to the north. You see they have, looks like a wooden fence, 6-foot wooden fence there now. So in addition to that 6-foot wooden fence, you're now going to have the 8-foot wall plus the lush landscaping to help out with the noise. Our design professional will testify a little bit later as to how noise carries and how it gets reduced and how he took this into consideration when designing the changes that we made to the plan. So not just the wall, now you're going to have additional things. The next slide. This is the house to the east, which is going to be next to the parking lot. As you can see right now, all they have is a chain link fence. So now they're going to have the chain link fence, the 8-foot wall, the landscaping, and then there's going to be a parking lot. So we're trying to do everything possible to be good neighbors within the confines of what we have. The next slide is actually the ground floor plan. Again, you can see parking lot located to the east and playground to the north, but it's kind of after part of our classrooms are already there. After that, you'll see some of the renderings showing the different elevations. If you can go to the last one, please. There you go. Now, I made three columns, and kind of these are the choices that you as a board have to make today. First column is, do we want this to be a single family residence? And it was from 1944 to 1965. That's not an option today. You're not voting to make this a single family home, no matter what you do. It was a daycare, approved daycare, from 1965 to 2008. In 2008, it was approved for 240 children. It has major institution land use. Right now, it has no parking on site, official parking anyway. The area and the swell area has been destroyed. The children play next to the homes. Right now, they can play in any part of our land. They can play next to the east house, the house on the east side. They can play next to the house on the north side. There's no walls, there's chain link fence. So I think the noise would be more than what it is now. And again,
Let me interrupt you one
Yes.
second. The approval in 2008 was with a plan that the property was going to be redeveloped, not these conditions. These conditions stayed since 2008 for different circumstances. But when this was approved in 2008, there was a proffer by the applicant that she was going to build a new building
Agreed.
with all the
Yes.
improvements, the
yes, it
parking.
was.
So the parking outside in the soil area and everything that is run down is a self-created condition. It's not something that is there because it has been there. It's a self-created condition. So
I'm just
I would just want to
pointing out-
clarify.
I'm just pointing out the way it is right now,
Okay.
the way it is
okay,
right now.
okay.
That's all. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just
Okay.
saying that's the way it is right now. And then again, as I stated to you before in my presentation, when you have a daycare, you have to have more staff. You have to have more people taking care of these small children. With part of it being a school, we're actually going to have less staff because now we can have one teacher per classroom as opposed to that. As far as if you recommend approval and this gets approved, as far as I'm concerned, I would represent to you that 240 children, that's already a done deal. We would upgrade the parking. We'll have the parking, car stacking, car circulation, all within the confines of our lot. We're not going to bother the neighbors for anything. The children are going to benefit because they're going to get a really nice 6,917 square foot playground. We will regrass the swale area, add the parallel parking spaces, add the 8-foot fence on the north and east sides to help with the noise, add the lush landscaping, and the new building is located as far away from the people that are there, the neighbors that are there, as much as possible. So based on that, I would request that you recommend approval. We have 3 residents of the area that would like to speak to you, as well as Carlos Cardoso to explain the noise and the planning. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. One quick question. The proposed building will be right up against Palm Avenue.
It's as far up as to Palm Avenue as possible.
Okay, so as far away from the property on the east side.
Correct.
The one with the yellow, with the RV next to it.
With the, I knew you were going to notice the RV.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
okay, so it'll be as far, in fact, adjacent to that property will be a parking lot.
Right next to that property will be parking lot.
And similar, the neighbor to the north are going to be abutted by a parking
There's
lot.
going to be a classroom that will be directly south of their house. And then part of our playground for the little kids will be, I'm going to say part of it is in his backyard and part of it is part of the house,
Okay,
behind the wall.
okay. I just wanted to make sure that we understand that the building is, proposed building will be as far west, closer to Palm Avenue as possible, away from the
Yes.
neighbors. Okay, thank you. Name and address, please.
Yes, how do you do? Carlos Cardoso, 14125 Northwest 80th Avenue, 303, Suite 303.
Thank you, sir.
I'm
Okay, basically, those are the same drawings. that
pretty
we
much,
just
yeah,
saw.
and I just
Okay.
want to make sure that you see that we
You wanna,
had
you wanna
made,
bring that one up on, so that.
you know,
the
that we
audience
had
can see it?
made, you know, the modifications to the colors to try to bring it toward the tones that that we were requested of last time. So as Caesar said, and he pretty much covered everything, but as he said that we did try to, you know, put the building as far to the west and far to the south as possible to keep it away from neighboring sites that are abutting the property. We've gone a little bit further with respect to the property to the north, because part of the playground was, backing up to their residence. So what we've done here is actually, we've done a four-part or four-step process to try to minimize the sound coming through there. What we've done is we've asked for a variance for an 8-foot high fence. Obviously, the children of this age that are going to be playing. Now, keep in mind, the kids that are going to be using the playground area are going to be the daycare school kids. All right, so maximum height there would be, 33 feet tall. So we're asking for an 8-foot high wall to provide that, that additional buffer between the property next door. Not only are we doing that, we're asking for that wall to have every cell filled. That alone, with the stucco and the paint that goes on there, would provide you a reduction of about 55 decibels. A playground going full, crazy, everybody, all right, would probably get you about 115 decibels.
Okay,
And-
one second. I don't mean to interrupt you, but
Mhm.
I think it needs a little bit of clarification. When you
Sure.
say every cell will be filled, are you talking about the brick, the block itself that has two
Right.
holes in it?
Yes,
That will be filled with
with grout. Basically, it's just. a
sound
kind of-
deadening
yeah,
material?
It's just, it's a thickening of the wall to make sure that it minimizes the amount of sound that can get through.
I
I'm
know
not saying,
what you're saying.
I'm not saying it's gonna be 100%, but I'm
No.
saying that if I have 115, right, decibels for a playground, 55 of that is already being taken up just through the wall, not taking into account the height of the wall.
Right.
All right,
I know what you're saying. I just
Mhm.
want to know for
I-
transparency, make sure that the layman understands that
right,
a building brick is hollow and it'll.
right. And we're
you're proposing
proposing
that you're going to
to
fill
fill
cavities.
each cell on the
Okay.
north side with that. Not
Thank you.
not only are we proposing to do something like that, and it's part of this drawing is in your packet, right? Not only are we proposing that we were also putting in a material called acoustic fence. So this isn't a material that's used on construction sites for exterior, sound barrier protection, and that provides you another 28 decibels of resistance. All right, as well as we're proposing a wood fence. All right, now you may say, well, the wood fence doesn't hold much, but there are designs on the wood fence such as the Jacoustic wood fence, which is a V-groove wood fence that provides an additional 32 decibels of reduction. When you add all that up, that gives you the 115 decibels that the kids would be making. If you add on, that would be in consideration that all the kids are right up against the fence and screaming as loud as they can. All right, so
And they
you-
will.
As you move further back though, but the playground is 40 feet wide.
Right.
So as you move further back, the amount of sound gets reduced for every 3 feet, about 6 decibels. So we're proposing a wall that will diminish the amount of sound that's being done. But on top of that, the amount of sound, just by the placement of where we are, is actually less than what a playground would be having. Again, the height, the sound, and then, as you said, we're putting in landscaping all along that fence. And that landscaping as well can provide as much as, I'm not saying that it's going to provide it, but landscaping can provide as much as 50% reduction of sound. So we've done, we're proposing as much as we can to diminish as much sound as we can, from that neighbor to the north. The other areas are really not impacted at all by the location of the playground areas, so because we have the parking and we have the distance, that also provides, for reduction. So with that, I mean, if you have any questions, we're here.
I do. One
Yes, sir.
more. Going back to the fence.
Uh-huh.
You're proposing, well, actually, it's a condition here of an 8-foot
Right.
CBS wall, which you're talking about right now.
Mhm.
Are you also talking about adding a wood fence adjacent to it? So you
Yes.
have 2 walls?
I am.
So the property owner to the north has one of those Durafence aluminum fence,
Which
whatever
has-
they have,
yeah,
whatever
which-
they have.
Mhm.
You're proposing to build a 8-foot wall, CBS wall filled.
Yes,
Next to it, or right up abutting it, a sound deadening
material that,
material, wood
Mhm.
fence.
yes, actually the sound deadening material on the block wall, and then a wood fence in front of that.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
And with that, I mean, there's absolutely not much else we can do there. I mean,
No, I
think we're-
just wanted to clarify.
That's
'cause
what
I-
I have spoken about with them on how to minimize and diminish the sound as much as we can.
Thank you. Cesar, you gonna say anything else or?
Yes, very quickly. I just want to point out that this school does provide a needed service for the area. They have a heavy concentration of special needs kids that they take care of. When I was preparing for today, I found out my assistant actually went to that school. So that was a long time ago. I'd like a couple of the parents to come up and address you concerning the service that the school provides.
Okay, remember, they're limited to
Limit,
3
yes.
minutes. And
This is Ruth Abreu.
have you been sworn in?
Yes.
Okay, name and address, please.
Okay, my name is Ruth Abreu. I live in 43 East 58th Street, Hialeah, Florida 33013. Okay, so I live right across the street, across from the daycare, and my son has been attending since he turned 1-year-old. He's been there for a year, and sorry, excuse me. They've been really good to my son, and I feel like it would be a good thing for him to be able to continue to go to the school where he's literally been going since he was a baby. And the parking situation now is a little bit, excuse me. The parking situation is a little bit complicated because we don't really have a set parking garage. Like we basically have to share with all of the neighbors. But overall, I don't see anything wrong with them progressing the school. It'll be a good thing for all of the neighbors. And like I said, I live right like walking distance from the school, and I appreciate them for trying to, develop it for our kids and for all of the kids that live in the neighborhood. And yeah, I don't see anything wrong.
Okay. Thank you. Name and address, please.
My name is Michelle Bacali, 7155 Northwest, 179th Street, apartment 107.
Have you been sworn in?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a mother of four, and I met Nike 10 years ago. Two of them have special needs, and she's been amazing to my kids. One of them graduated 2 years ago from middle school, and he was expelled from the public system. And she's been helping me for 10 years with my kids. And I don't have any parents, I'm by myself. And she's the only one that has been helping me with my kids all of this time. And I appreciate that you guys continue, with this. And the way that she's helping the school, the kids with her schools. I have a lot of friends that they have kids with special needs, and when I talk to them, hey, come to this place, the owner is really nice, and she help you, and she help all of my friends too. She don't do this for the money, she do it for the kids. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, just for the record, the only reason I keep asking if you've been sworn in is because there's so many of you, and only a few stood up, so. Name and address.
Hello, good night. Maricelis Gonzalez, and my address is 360 West 63rd Street, Hialeah, Florida. I am a resident of Hialeah. I've been residents for Pal Avenue for more than 15 years already. I've been with Nike in these schools for more than 10 years with my two kids. And I approve what just Michelle said, that Nike is not only a principal to a school, she's a human that has like a huge heart with everybody, with every children's, with every parents, that I am concerned of that. This school has been operating for more than 30 years already. Is that what I have been told? And I asked the council to consider to approve this school, because it's going to be a good it's going to be good for us as a parent to maintain confiado, mantenernos, podernos ir a nuestros trabajos confiados, sin ninguna preocupación en nuestra mente, porque ha sido una escuela confiable donde nunca he tenido un problema con mis hijos. Mi hijo tiene desde los 4 años hasta los 14.
We need to translate that.
Okay, my son, for example, I have a son and a daughter, and he's been there since BPK, 4 years. And he's now 14 years. He's in 8th grade and he's still on the school. And he's like, Mom, I want to stay on the same school. Tell Nike to open more classes because I love that school. And he has he had before, when he was 4 years, a delayed speech, and I could be able to stay on the school. And I am aware that the school is excellent. That couldn't be possible if I had my son in a public school. Like, as a parent, in a public school, we could not be there. My son didn't speak. when he was 4 and 5 years, and I was present there, and I see how the schools operate. I really ask you to consider for this approval, because it's going to be make a big difference on the city of Hialeah for the childs, for the children's, and for the parents to be safe. And it's going to be like a moderate, and it's going to make changes on the community.
Thank you.
Really, thank you.
One last speaker. Just one last speaker. It'll be short.
This is a K through 5th grade elementary school. So the lady before, she mentioned her son is in 8th grade, but there's no 8th grade. Okay.
We have 9 children.
Okay.
Okay, so since you're far away, the microphone couldn't capture your response. You're saying that you have another school that has a higher grade level, and the young lady talking about the 8th grade, that will be a different.
Yeah, because they have kids in one school and another kids in other schools.
Okay.
Transfer them when they graduate from,
Can you please stand up and
I'm sorry.
you just
Yeah.
name and address and then just repeat what you just said? I know it's just a question, but
No,
it's.
I understand. I'm sorry. I apologize. My name is Jonaiki Miranda. I'm the school owner of Children's Paradise. What my kids do is whenever I have only daycare, they stay on to daycare, and then they move to another institution that have up to 5th grade. Then they move to the other institution that has up to 8th grade. That school has always been approved for private school. So that's how they move so they stayed in the school forever, and this is the proof. I have a student here that wants to talk, that he was raised in Children's Paradise, and he want to say some words if you allow him to.
Sure. Thank you.
you.
Deborah, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we just wanted to reiterate that it's not just in this property that they move on to another property that you own. Still in the family, but thank you. Name and address, please.
My name is Dairon Fonseca, 805 West 74th Street, Hialeah, Florida 33014. Like she said, I grew up in the Children's Paradise family. I was in the school from 3rd all the way to 8th grade. So I felt like that was my second home, and I was able to experience firsthand all of the help that they brought to me, especially since when I graduated and I'm in a charter school now, and I'm top of my classes. I'm taking APs, I'm taking dual enrollment. I'm on track to finish my first 2 years of college before finishing high school. By the time I graduate 12th grade, I'm already gonna have my associate's degree in arts. And this is all thanks to her, the teachings and the care that they put into me. I think of all of them, my teachers that I've had there as a second family. No matter what happened, no matter the tough things that I've been through, my parents are divorced. I experienced their divorce when I was 7 years old, and they've always been there for me. I was one of the kids that stayed there until 6. I was the last kid to go home. And there's been many, many times when her daughter had to take me to my mom's job because she was working. Right. And, all of the help that they happened. There was like an instance where my mom's car got broken into, her purse was stolen, and they decided to round up some money to fix the broken window. And I grew up there. I was just 3rd grade, and they switched me from when I got to 5th grade, I went to another center, and then just big family. I watched them as they helped the kids, like they said, with special needs, and just helping any and every way they could. And I feel like that experience that I got to have, the family, the closeness that has helped me excel academically, is something that every kid should have a chance to get. And I feel like with the approval of this, they would be able to get that experience that I had, be able to excel, not only be surrounded by people who they believe as a second family, but as well as have the attention that they need, especially since I know that this is a very early on, but the attention to academics, because that's what I mostly focus on, should start from early on. Build the basic building blocks that I used many, many times when I graduated.
Thank you. Okay, Cesar, for the record, we've had 4 speakers in favor. I know you're gonna chime in a little bit, then we're gonna open the floor for 4, up to 4.
I'll save it for rebuttal after the 4,
Okay,
and then I'll come back. We're short rebuttal.
okay, thank you. Any comments or questions from the board? All right, at this moment, we're gonna open the floor again for anyone that has a comment or question. We heard in favor. Those that are in opposition, up to 4 of you, 3 minutes at a time.
I'll translate for him. And then
Okay, just remember, it's 3 minutes.
Yes, I know.
Name and address, nombre y dirección.
Muy buenas noches.
Bueno.
Me refiero a ustedes con el mayor respeto posible. Mi nombre es Silvino Monteagudo, tengo 86 años. Me he pasado la vida entera trabajando aquí en la ciudad de Hialeah y todo el condado de Dade.
Okay,
Y yo quisiera nada más.
I'll say it all at the end.
you say it all. No, you need, we need.
You're gonna have to go
Copy.
sentence by sentence.
Déjame explicarle.
Yeah.
He's saying he's 86 years old.
Okay, speak into the
he's-
microphone.
He's a resident of Hialeah. He's 86 years old. He's worked in Hialeah and all of Dade County. And he's directing himself to the board with the utmost respect.
La cuestión mía es la siguiente. Mi casa es la que está continua al terreno donde piensan fabricar el edificio.
His house is the house to the east of the empty lot.
Y he vivido en ese barrio y siempre ha sido un barrio residencial. Y vaya, es triste ahora a estas alturas que construyan un edificio ahí para que vean eso hecho, vaya, un desastre plenamente.
So he says it's very sad that they're going to build a large scale building and that is going to deteriorate the neighborhood significantly.
Y esto que voy a decir no es refiriéndome a nadie en particular, pero yo estoy casi seguro que si el departamento de zoning, algún miembro viviera en la casa que vivo yo, no iban a aprobar el cambio de zona en esa zona. Muchas gracias.
So first I want to address that
Okay,
everybody.
Translate what he just said, please.
Oh, okay. He said that with the utmost respect, he wanted to tell the board that if each and every one of you lived adjacent to this proposed facility, he was sure you guys would not approve it.
Okay, thank you. Now,
Now it's my turn.
name and address.
My name is Anay Monteagudo. I'm his daughter and I live at 41 East 59th Street.
Thank you. Go ahead.
We live in the house adjacent to it. First, I want to bring to light that everybody that came up here is not a neighboring resident of the proposed facility. No, one was at 177th.
It's her time.
Yes, one was at 177th, the other one was on 62nd. And then the young lady was on 58th Street, which is fine. Nobody has addressed the problem with the traffic. As you know, you guys have all been caught up in a school zone. Imagine me trying to get out of that house between school hours. I mean, it's going to be impossible. Right now, the traffic is, unbearable. The facility parks whichever way they want. The other day, a resident came, one of the members came, parked on my dad's swale. My dad actually corrected them, said, hey, I keep this very nice. I have sprinklers. They just ignored him like he was a piece of trash and just proceeded to park in his swale. So, and the culture that we have right now in Hialeah, very disrespectful. They really don't adhere to anything. They just don't care. So I asked the board to please, not approve this expansion. I am really asking for you guys to put yourselves in our shoes. And think about it. If her neighbors, if she was building this next to wherever she lives, I'm sure her neighbors would not be happy. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Sandy Palacios and with me is my son Zachary Palacios.
We both reside at 10 East 60th Street. I'm also the property owner of 10 East 60th Street. My backyard right now is behind her current playground and behind the Children's Paradise building. So it was not addressed earlier in any of the plans, how it affect the privacy of my backyard. First of all, I want to remind everybody that we never received notice. All of the neighbors that are here that did come today came because my son saw it on the agenda and we went door to door knocking. We never received the red card. Second of all, this was canceled in October, November, when all the neighbors were rallied and ready to come. Today, inclement weather, a lot of the neighbors weren't able to come because our neighborhood is elderly. And they, as much as me and I offered a ride, due to the inclement weather, they didn't want to come out today to support, but they are opposing this as well. I would like to, first of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity to address this matter that is going to significantly affect our neighborhood. I stand before you to express my deep concerns and opposition to the proposed rezoning and restructuring of a two-story daycare and educational facility in our cherished residential neighborhood. I would like to also tell you that I am an educator. I am a teacher to Amelia Earhart Elementary, a two-story building sitting in front of residential homes. I've been a teacher for 26 years. I value educational facilities, how it's conducive to learning environment. However, it does not belong in a residential zone where it has already been established as a single story building. Our neighborhood is not just a collection of houses. It is a community where families have chosen to build their lives. I have lived there for more than 20 years. We value the peace, tranquility, and aesthetics that come with living in a residential area. The proposed changes, however well-intentioned, threaten to disrupt the delicate balance that makes our neighborhood a haven for its residents. No doubt that in the modern building that they're going to build, it's conducive to learning, but it does not belong in our neighborhood. Privacy is a fundamental aspect of our homes, a sanctuary where we can retreat from the outside world. The addition of a two-story daycare facility in close proximity to our homes poses a significant threat to the cherished privacy. Imagine the constant stream of activity, the noise, and the eyes peering into our living spaces. The intrusion of our personal space is not something any of us signed up for when we chose to make this neighborhood our home. I'm going to give you a prime example. I don't know how to say arecas in English, but my backyard that faces her backyard has arecas. I sent them to all get cleaned out so they could look nice. Within a day, correct me if I'm wrong, they went ahead and they put a mesh because they wanted their privacy to their daycare. He mentioned an 8-foot fence. I'm sorry, how is an 8-foot fence going to stop privacy from a two-story building? In addition, they said a playground was going to be in a second story. How is an 8-foot fence taller than a second story
Thank you.
building?
Thank you.
Through the chair,
Yes, sir.
excuse me, ma'am. Were you aware in 2008 when this came to the board in 2008? Were any of you aware of this? Because you said you've been living there for over 20 years.
Yes, we were aware, but it was never mentioned. I'm not opposing the daycare. I'm not opposing any of that because when I bought my house, it was already a daycare. It wasn't owned by her, it was owned by somebody else. What I'm opposing is a two-story building. If I feel like going into my pool topless, not something that I would do, but if I feel like doing it, that's my choice. It's my property. And a two-story building doesn't belong there. I had a PowerPoint that I don't know if she could put it where Palm Avenue, our area, is purely residential. We went ahead and we
Okay,
got the,
Ma'am,
Yeah.
it's simple answer.
Sorry.
You're
Yeah,
extending your.
sorry, I'm a teacher and I talk a lot.
My heart goes out to you, but it's got approved on 2008. That's all I could see. And I just see where it is.
It's a two-story thing that I'm opposing.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay,
I apologize.
I'm going to say something to you that may rub you wrong. Okay. Privacy is something that you create. Okay. You mentioned your sunbathing in your pool.
Mhm.
Okay. Have you ever heard of the plain view doctrine?
No,
That means whatever your eyes can see, you can see. Okay. If they can see, if you leave your windows open, your blinds open, and they can see into your house, it's on you. So keep that in mind. And again, I'm not, you know, I don't want to offend you in any way.
None,
I just want to enlighten you because, you know, that you mentioned that the privacy and, you know, just, I just wanted to make sure that you understand that the privacy is something that you create.
I just want you guys to take into consideration this was happening in your backyard. None of you would approve it.
Understood, understood. Thank you so much.
Hello, Mike Rodriguez, 41 East 59th Street. I wasn't going to speak, but just to keep this conversation going as far as Plainview, you know, I think that's not necessarily, I think that's an easy way to explain that away. I think if you think about people and their normal course of behaviors in their home, whether they leave their blinds open or not, whether they're in their bathing suit or not, you know, we would want to at least keep that in mind. We have children, right, that will have plain view of what people do in their backyards into their home. I would think that's a consideration when you're going to build to a sight line that give a bunch of children plain view into what all of these neighbors are doing. I don't think that that's something that, you know, should be taken lightly and set, not that you did, but I understand the point you were making. But the point I'm making is there's an additional consideration in that because it's disrupting and altering the way everyone that's behind the school would live based on what you just said.
It's what I said is a fact.
So then
I'm not taking any side.
So then a person that's sunbathing nude in their backyard, that's spotted by a kid on a second floor, that's indecent exposure.
Yeah, no, not necessarily. Not unless, let me pause this time for a second. I don't want to take your time.
Right.
Okay. Give you a little bit of background.
Sure.
I have been, you know what a lineman is? Person that works on the lines.
Yeah.
A power line.
Sure.
Okay. I've been a lineman for 35 years.
Okay.
My main line of work was climbing poles.
Okay.
Where do you usually find poles? In the backyard.
Sure.
Okay. Just to answer your comment. Think how many things I saw while I was in the backyard up on the pole looking down.
I don't know.
You see what I mean?
How many?
Hey,
How many?
Just think.
A lot? A little?
I'm not gonna go there, but just so you know, it is what it is. That's a fact of life. And
Well,
there's absolutely nothing that the individual can do to prevent me from, I'm doing my job up on the pole and I look down and say, whoa.
I hear you. And that's a great point because you're a lineman, you're an adult, but now we're talking about adding a second layer to a school.
Yes.
And these little kids that we're
And
talking about.
if you
So
look-
if they see what you've seen,
I
which we haven't commented on.
Sorry,
Okay,
but
okay.
I think this conversation is going nowhere.
Yeah,
In
go
a,
ahead and-
in a single family neighborhood, you
Go
can
ahead.
build up to 2.5 stories. I don't know if you have been across the street from a Molina's restaurant. There's a home that has 2 stories and a terrace. Also, there are public schools that have more than 2 stories and the kids go and look out of the window. So you can, I'm not defending anyone. I know that the privacy is an issue, but there's other privacy issues
Sure.
like the noise, like the traffic, and I agree with you on that. But the second story, that is a conversation that is going nowhere because that is allowed by right. So let's continue.
It's not allowed in
what-
the neighborhood. We don't have any second story houses in the
well,
neighborhood.
These are,
But they are
those
allowed.
are old houses. They were established as 1 story, but anyone can come and add a second story, or they can tear the house and build 2 stories and a half. So the height is something everyone there has by right. There are other privacy issues that you want do you want maybe to elaborate on that? But the height is not something that we are going to find any.
Okay, I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that's 4. That was 4. There was 2, 3, and 4. Please.
Very quickly, I understand the neighbors' concerns. Like Deborah said, you can't prevent somebody from building 2 stories, whether it's a single family house or not. I would just like to ask anybody that's here in favor Todos los que están a favor de la escuela, please stand up. párense.
Okay.
Las personas que no viven en Hialeah, siéntense, queden separados los que viven en Hialeah. Based on what has happened here today,
Please sit down. Thank you.
we would respectfully request that you recommend approval. This has been an approved daycare for 240 students. A lot of the people that bought in the area knew that this
For
was there.
several years.
So we'd be requesting a recommendation of approval.
Thank you.
If you have
Cesar.
any questions, let me know.
Any comments or questions from the board before we close this?
Remember the conditions, the removal of the porch.
Yes, we said
And
that it
also
would
the
be removed
organiz-
as soon as the building permit is.
And the organization of the parking within the property and not on the soil area. And try to organize the traffic and educate your parents so they don't disturb the neighbors.
Understood.
Thank you. Okay. Closest up part of the public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
To approve.
With the conditions.
Motion by Mr. Ulloa,
Second the motion with conditions.
second by Mr. Iglesias. Mr. D. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias,
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez,
Can you come back to me?
Mr. Ulloa. Mr.
Oh.
Ulloa,
Yes.
Mr. Jimenez,
Yes.
Yes.
item has been approved with conditions.
Thank you.
Okay, folks. We have more business. We have more business to conduct, please. Either speak, press some,
I want to say thank you so
your name,
much.
your
Oh,
name.
sorry, my name is Eva Cordero. I want to say thank you for this approval. I promise that it's going to be an honor for you and for the city of Hialeah have this school in the city.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, what do we have? Okay,
Can I say a final remark since she got a chance to say one too?
quickly.
That's fine. You guys have disappointed us as taxpayers, the city of Hialeah that give back to the community.
Remember that this is not finished today. You have January 9 to come before the city council.
days.
This
Be
board
quiet
only
or
makes
leave.
a recommendation. So on January 9, you have the opportunity to come and speak before the city council. That's first reading. And then 2 weeks later, you have the second reading. So this is not finished today.
They're not gonna be able to.
Thank you for
talk.
coming.
You won't be able to talk on first reading. Sometimes they allow you, but I recommend that you come on both meetings. Come on January 9 and come on the other
January 23rd.
People,
and
come on,
January 23rd.
come on. Thank you. Okay, we do have more business to conduct.
Item number 6. Ordinance of the mayor and the city council of the city of Hialeah, Florida, amending chapter 98 of the city of Hialeah. Code of ordinances entitled zoning, article
You can't
6.
hear.
All right, I'll just read it again.
Yeah, let's.
Thank
pause-
you.
Let's pause this for about a minute.
Yo entiendo a los vecinos, porque yo vivo dentro de una escuela y me tengo que ir antes, y todos los padres salen a la fila para entrar y tengo que llegar. Your money.
We're almost done.
Can we just finish it? And
Yeah.
then-
That one item, right?
Thanks.
Item number 6.
Okay, let's restart. Mike, we still on? Okay.
Item number 6, ordinance the mayor and the city council of the city of Hialeah, Florida, amending chapter 98 of the city of Hialeah Code of Ordinances entitled zoning, article 6, supplementary district regulations, division 3, buildings and structures, creating a new section 98-1681 to allow mobile food dispensing vehicles, also known as food trucks, to operate in the city subject to certain operating standards, repealing all ordinances or parts of the ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for penalties for violations hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date.
Okay,
This is an ordinance that will amend the zoning code to permit mobile food trucks. It will limit where they are able to park, where they're able to conduct business, and it will regulate how they're able to conduct business, including the necessity of obtaining a BTR from the department in licensing. And it will regulate fire necessities with the fire marshal to ensure safety from the food dispensing vehicles.
BTR, what is that?
Business tax receipt.
Okay,
The occupational license.
there are two of them parked on Palm Avenue, just around 16th Street right now.
There's no regulations right now, so they are free to go about the city.
Okay, thank you. Comments or questions? Not at all. So basically, this is gonna put some kind of regulations as to where they can park, how long.
Florida law only allows you to regulate where they're allowed to be and allows the fire marshal to make safety regulations regarding the mobile food trucks.
Thank you. Comments or questions? No? Anyone in the audience? Anyone in the electronic?
And one more, I'm sorry, Yesenia's online. She's the business tax official. I see her online. I don't know if she'd like to speak. Let's see. No.
No?
No.
I see her name there.
Yeah, because she wanted to attend the meeting. Yes, yeah.
Oh, okay, you mean like I was last night? All right, so if there's no comment or question, what's the pleasure of the board? Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Ulloa, second by Mrs. Enriquez. Mr. D. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias,
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez,
Yes.
Mr. Jimenez,
Yes.
Mr. Ulloa.
Yes.
Item's been approved. Miscellaneous item not requiring advertising. Item number 7, tentative plat of Riesco Hialeah.
Okay, sorry. This is a plat, it's a replatting of a bigger property that was approved by ordinance 2021-025, permitting the replatting into the property into 3 lots. The Department of Water and Sewers states that there is an existing 2-inch water main abutting the property through an alley. There is an existing 8-inch sewer main abutting the property along East 23rd Street and East 7th Avenue. Sanitary sewer flow goes to pump station number 348 in okay status, and there is a change of use approved. If there is a change of use, approval is required by the fire department, police department, and Parks and Recreation department have no objection. The streets division does not have any objection to the proposed plat. Final plat approval will be contingent on an approved site plan and concurrency process.
Okay, comments or questions? What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Iglesias, second by Mrs. Enriquez. Mr. D. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Ulloa,
Okay.
Mr. Jimenez,
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez,
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias.
Yes.
Item has been approved. Okay, so item number 8 needs to be withdrawn, so no action.
Item number 8. Okay.
Yes, it was a tentative plat, but it's still in progress with the city council. It went on first reading yesterday. So since they have not been approved yet to plat into substandard lots, they will be in standby until they get that ordinance.
Noted.
Okay, so item
Okay.
number 8 has been withdrawn. Item number 9, old business?
Whole business,
Okay, no old business. Item number 10, new business.
new business.
Well, this is the last meeting of 2023. Thank you, everything. Happy holidays
Happy.
and see you next year.
Happy holidays to all of
Happy
you.
holidays and safe, having safe. Have a wonderful time. I hope you were good. Nice, not naughty. Santa might bring you some good stuff.
And also another thing, we gave you a copy of the updated planning and zoning manual. You will have time, read it. It's in English and in Spanish. It explains each of the things that we do here. What is a variance? What is a special use permit? There is a QR code. You can see it in your phone too. So I wanted you to have the new version.
Good deal.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, if there's no other new business, other than happy,